عنها إلا هالك. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. عباد الله، اتقوا الله حق تقاته وكونوا بشرعه متمسكين، كما يقول عز وجل في محكم تنزيله: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، نستقبل بعد ساعات شهرا عظيما الذي كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يبشر أصحابه بمقدمه ويستبشره، ألا وهو شهر الصيام أو شهر رمضان. أيها المستمعون الكرام، اعلموا وعوا أن العبرة في الصيام ليست بمجرد الإمساك عن الأطعمة وغيرها، بل شرع الصيام لغايات بليغة، منها أنه يحقق التقوى في القلوب ويضبط السلوك. لذلك قال الله تعالى في محكم تنزيله: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. وثبت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. أخرجه البخاري. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May His peace and blessing be showered upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the one who fought tooth and nail for Islam to get to every corner of the world. Our supplication always is, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow unto him His full blessings and mercy, and to whoever is to follow his footsteps until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. I bear full witness that none is worthy being worshipped but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you dare worship anything else that isn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no doubt we consider that the highest level of oppression. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us far away from such kind of oppression. Allahumma ameen. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, it's public knowledge that the Muslim fraternity, the Islamic world, a few hours from now, we might welcome our guest, our annual guest. Now we know that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the tradition he left behind in his legacy, whenever we get to these moments, we Muslims put on smiles, because we know who is coming close to us, and that is the guest of Ramadan, the month of fasting, the month of believers, the month of charging our relationship with Allah, the month of bettering ourselves, the month of gaining rewards, multiplied rewards. That is the month of Ramadan. It's one reason as to why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to give glad tidings to companions, we his followers, that whenever Ramadan comes in play, whenever we approach the beginning periods of Ramadan, we are supposed to handle ourselves as people who are actually appreciating that reality. But now today is someone, inshallah, I wanted us to pay close attention to the main reason and purpose as to why we do fast. I would like to put to your attention that many Muslims globally attach fasting to only the reality of them leaving out food, stuff, and drinks. Now, from the Islamic wisdom, we get it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indeed prescribed unto us fasting. He never at one point prioritized the reality of us only leaving foods and drinks. There is a primary goal, objective, as to why Muslims observe fasting. Maybe it's the one reason as to why we are fake masters when it comes to fasting. Maybe it's the same reason as to why it's easier for us to get off track immediately after Ramadan. Because we thought that fasting the month of Ramadan is only branded with leaving out foods and drinks. Now I would like to put your attention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of his divine wisdom, trained whoever subscribes to this religion to understand that the gist of the matter in fasting has nothing to only do with leaving foods and stuff. It has a lot to do with shaping your character. It has a lot to do with training you to take up self-control disciplines. Check out the whole reality of fasting. Now, if we Muslims get to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be this, as we are fasting, this is why I want us to dedicate these few minutes to at least creating awareness to the Muslim fraternity to understand the logic behind Allah bringing fasting to us. Don't we recite the Holy Quran? Now we all know the verse. Actually, you have actually predicted that we are going to discuss fasting today in a new approach. Allah is like, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, serious believers. Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. We are not the fast that are fasting. Allah is like, we prescribed unto you fasting. Kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. You're not the first bunch of people to fast. Many people before you did that. And then Allah brought the reason as to why we fast. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That's the end of the khutbah today. Perhaps, as you fast, you may earn the discipline of self-restraint. Do you know what that means? Someone who is going to appreciate that reality as they are fasting, they are the same people that are supposed to smile right now, even after Ramadan, because the impact of Ramadan is evident in their life. Do you know what the discipline of self-restraint does? That is self-control. Are your emotions in check? Are your desires in check? Now check the reality of fasting. You're going to spend the whole day without eating anything and drinking anything. Not because you don't have money to buy one. Now in this scorching sunshine, even with that reality, no believer is going to take anything during the day. That's what we call self-restraint. Your emotions are in check, your desires are in check. Just because you're desireful about something, it's not reason enough Islamically to grab it. No, that is a discipline we get from fasting. You can only get to that discipline if you appreciate that that's why Allah wants you to fast. Perhaps you attain taqwa in your hearts. Self-restraint. It's a primary pillar into people who are pious. Just keeping your discipline in check. Shaping your character. Now, Muslim believers who are going to welcome Ramadan, we expect them to have the best of characters. We get that from Ramadan. Now, for the unserious Muslims and believers who basically think it's only courtesy of leaving out drinks and eatables, come on. The news to you is you're far away from the exact fasting we are yet to witness. Work upon yourself. That's enough. And a lot of hard work to do in Ramadan. Self-restraint. Under the self-control. Holding back. We get that in Ramadan. Ramadan is training you to at least learn, have the discipline of holding back at times. Keeping your anger in check. The impatience levels. When you visit the traditions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he's trying to address to serious believers who are good at fasting, you know the guidance? Prophet was like, even when you're fasting and someone is throwing bad negative insults to you, what is your reply? Inni sa'im. Remind them that I'm fasting. It's not just literal. It's a training to keep your anger in check. Now for 29, 30 days, you're going to have that. Isn't that reason enough for you, for a Muslim, if you're practicing something for 29 days, 30 days, if I'm to say, we are going to be better people tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the sweetness of Ramadan. And this is the essence of it. That's why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam spiced up this whole reality. In an authentic tradition narrated to us by Abu Huraira, Prophet was like to remind us, those who still think Ramadan is only branded with eatables and drinks, this is news for you. Prophet was like, Man lam yada qawla az-zuhr. If you're fasting and you're not branding your character with living out immoral statements, bad statements, abusive language, wala amala bihi, and actually reacting upon it, فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ مِنْ أَنْ يَدَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ. Prophet is like, Allah is not in need of you're leaving out drinks and eatables. Why? Your fasting is nominal. You thought it only has something to do with leaving drinks and eatables. We are not the unserious group that is going to think of Allah like that. Had it been a reality, it wouldn't make sense Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam making it sunnah optional for Muslims to make it a point to eat sahur, dako. Why? If the primary goal was for us to feel hunger, then leaving out sahur would be a better option for us. But then Allah and the Prophet are like, no, take that sahur, and it's actually sunnah if you don't take it a bit early. No, take it late. Because the essence is not in you feeling hungry. And even during breaking the fast, even when you delay breaking the fast, you don't have any extra rewards. The more rewards are into someone who actually fastens into breaking their fasting. Does it make sense now? Our Islam is not training us to actually feel the hunger. Ramadan is a season for us to better ourselves. Be human in Ramadan. Be charitable in Ramadan. Be merciful in Ramadan. Strengthen your bond with your Creator in Ramadan. It works magic. Abebitiibwa abampuliriza, amatenda amajjuvu ga Allah tumusinza kuba yasaanidde okubanga asinzibwa. Nsaalira kuwa ekitiibwa nabbi waffe Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, oyo nno ye musomesa waffe ffenna gwe tugoberera. Tusaba Allah musiime naffe abamugoberera okutuusa olunaku olw'enkomerero. Allahumma amin. Kaakati ensi yonna ekimanyi tekisiibo kisembedde. Abakyamuka bakyamuse kirungi nno. Naye khutuba y'olwaleero njagadde tuwayeemuko